Hey everybody, welcome to etrailer.com. I'm Bobby, and today we're taking a look at the Retrax XR hard tonneau cover retractable here today on our 2009 Ford F-150. So guys, if you're wanting a very nice tonneau cover to go ahead, start protecting your items on the inside of your bed, but still allowing you to have access to actually start carrying a lot of stuff on the top of here, this is gonna be a go-to. As you guys can see here, you're gonna have no trouble throwing on a roof rack to go ahead and start putting on any accessories you want on here. We're talking bike rack carriers, we're talking cargo carriers, kayak carriers, whatever you guys need to go ahead and start utilizing these. Definitely gonna have the capability of doing that. As you guys can see, this T-Track system right here, perfectly aligned with that little crack, looks really nice too, and that allows you to go ahead, run those guys in there, and get any accessories you want on the back of your truck. Now that roof rack is going to have a 200-pound weight capacity limit, so go ahead and weigh your own accessories you actually want to go ahead and fully utilize on the back of your truck. Now of course it doesn't just stop at accessories, you can go ahead and use this to transport lumber, anything else, big bulky items that we don't want to go ahead and stick underneath our tonneau cover, or maybe just something we want to quickly access. You know, the Yakima Skinny Warrior could be awesome on here. Just give yourself a nice little cargo basket to go ahead and throw up those duffel bags you want to quickly access whenever you are hopping out of your truck for whatever you might be doing. The tonneau cover itself though is still high quality, which is great. You are having this nice polycarbonate layer that's going to go ahead and make it a little bit more resistant to those UV rays. I know for me, when I was a kid and always seeing my dad throw them up on here, it was always kind of surprising how quickly those start baking and cracking. And you know, at the time he just had the little roll-up ones, and those are great, right? They work nice, but these guys are going to be awesome because actually as we get it shifted in there, let me go ahead and actually pop this locking cord that will break down later. You guys can maybe see underneath there, we actually can slide underneath. So it's not going to be adding on top of our cab, right? It goes underneath and slides away. That's going to be great to go ahead and not impact any of our vision from that back window. One thing I really like about this retractable cover and this locking mechanism, you guys saw earlier how that actually locked us in place and won't slide out. What's cool about that, you can actually do that anywhere here. So maybe you got a lawnmower or a ladder system that's just actually taking up too much room and I want it sticking out the bed of the truck. I could actually bring this in line, say it's right here, bring it up, give it a nice backing, and then lock that in place, and that's going to actually secure this whole system and give us a nice little backing to go ahead and hold our bigger items. So one problem I encountered is our roof rack system here sits just a little low. So you guys can see the top of our latch here is going to be right about 3.5 inches tall. So when I go ahead and slide this in, we have a slight interaction here with our crossbar system, as you guys can see. Now that's really easily circumvented, right? By just simply doing that, allowing this to go ahead and get out of the way. But that's definitely something you want to keep in mind when you are picking up some roof rack systems, is giving that height that you're actually going to have for that clearance of your tonneau cover. With the tonneau rolled all the way up, keep in mind you are still going to be losing a little room in the bed of your truck. Since we're not keeping it up here and impacting our window, we are going to be impacting our bed size. So you are losing about 13.75 of an inch here. Now on the inside though, where our canister is, you got about only 13.5 inches. So you have about a quarter where that cover sits on the top, just where it rolls out a little bit more. So do keep that in mind. Now you have a little bit of space here at the bottom. However, you are going to have drain tubes there. So not going to be the easiest thing to go ahead and slide a bunch of your bigger items right underneath that canister. So keep in mind, you are going to lose a little bit for your bed. So we'll kind of break this down later in the installation, but of course, I'm really glad of how well this sits here on our bulkhead. We have that nice seal. It's going to go ahead and make sure that we have all of our inside gear that's protected, and as well as we have this nice kind of rubber foam that's actually in between here, our side rails. It does a great job of making sure we're not having any water intrusion that's going to damage the things that our tonneau cover is designed to protect. Now, of course, we do have this little roll off here, so you're going to have a little bit of rainwater actually getting here probably, but as we mentioned before, and you'll see later in the installation, we do have some drainage tube to go ahead and ensure that we don't have any water buildup. One thing I really love about this tonneau cover, these bearings are really well sealed. So you guys can see it has no trouble shifting. In fact, sometimes the weight actually moves it on its own, which is definitely awesome. Makes it really easy to slide it. Now the one thing I will say though, don't service these bearings. Retrax says they don't need you to put any kind of grease or anything on there. If you are having a little bit of trouble with anything, it's probably going to be some kind of dust or debris buildup here inside of your track. So what you want to do, go ahead and make sure you're cleaning this out regularly, and you can take a little paraffin wax and go ahead and coat that just a little bit, but let's definitely not go too crazy as we don't want to void our warranty. Now, of course, we are going to have this locking mechanism here, and as you guys already saw, great that we can go ahead and put that wherever we want, but when you have it all the way undone in conjunction with a locking tailgate, you know that your gear is going to be nice and protected. Now, of course, if somebody really wants your things, they can go ahead and get it. They could take a sledgehammer and all and really start puncturing this guy. However, going to be really resistant to any kind of knives, kind of scratches, anything like that. Nobody's going to make a slit. It's not going to be like a canvas where they just simply slot right through with a pocket knife and get it. They are going to have to take some work to actually get in this guy, and at that point, we're probably going to hear it. So I think we are going to be nice and secure in the knowledge that we're going to have all of our gear where we leave it when we leave it unattended. Well guys, personally, I'm a big fan of this tonneau cover. I think it's excellent that we're getting all this space back here on the top of our bed. In my mind, when you throw that tonneau cover on there, you're losing half of what the truck capability allows you to have. And I really like that I have the control of this top space management. Things that we're losing, we get right back by throwing any carrier up on here. We're really gonna start taking full use of the bed of your truck, which is excellent. Now, the one thing that you are kind of losing, right, is that bed space in the back of your truck. So if you're not quite liking how that canister sits, you do have those longer items and you still like the bed of your truck actually being there, you could start looking at some trifold tonneau covers. Those hard tops are great. You're still getting that nice support from here. Of course, there's always canvas rollers. They do a great job, of course, of just protecting that inside gear. However, then we're losing a lot of that security and just that nice support that we're actually getting from our tonneau cover here. Again, for me, can't really beat having this T-slot system. I think it's going to be excellent, especially if you find yourself using a lot of recreational accessories. Well, everybody, definitely going to be an awesome system to go ahead and get all that added capability, right? All those features. However, how long is it going to take to install? Well, not too long. I'd say roughly, probably going to take you guys an hour and a half, maybe, to actually get it fully installed to how you guys want it. Why don't you go ahead and follow along and we get it installed together. All right, guys, to begin our installation, what we want to do, obviously, go ahead and get it out of the box. Now, we've already gone ahead and put the rails on here today, but they are going to come separately, and you do need to get them installed. To do so, your canister is going to have these little plastic holders that are actually keeping your track from sliding out all the way. We're going to need to remove those. You're going to find a screw right here on this big circle here. It's going to be a black screw. All you got to do, take your Phillips head, go ahead and walk that out. Now, as you do that, though, be careful, because this could want to go ahead and run down your track, and we don't want that to happen. The second step, make sure, well, I guess kind of in the middle there, make sure your lock's undone. You do want this to be able to be rolling, and if this is locked in place, it's not going to be rolling. So we do want it unlocked. That way it actually can roll in this position. To get your rails set up though, you just simply slot in these rollers. You're going to see that inside track you want it to be. Simply just walk your rail up through that track and into position. Then we're going to go ahead and need to align it here. So on the side, right where we had that previous screw, right here in this circle, and right here in this circle is going to be our mounting points. So of course we're going to need that Phillips screwdriver once again. You guys can see where this kind of sits right here in that canister, right there on that outline, and that's where our screw is. You can see the very butt end of it. One thing that I found, if you are getting these rails set up, one thing that's going to be awesome for it, getting yourself something to hold up that back rail, maybe a second person, or like you can see here today, we've gone ahead and just thrown our box that we had them in. That's going to give you that proper alignment to get this properly set up. And as you tighten it down, pinching right here with your finger in your hand is going to be awesome to go ahead and get this in line. That way you can actually properly tighten this down with your screwdriver. All right, guys, now we just need to go ahead and add on the plate towards our bulkhead. All you're going to do is simply slot it in right here. You're going to find it wants to fit in perfectly. If it's not, it's going to be falling on either side. All you need to do, come at it again, readjust, and getting both ends at the same time is going to be awesome for yourself, or integral to go ahead and actually get this properly aligned. But now that we do have that aligned, we need to take one of our screws here. You can see we are properly aligned there as well. So we can go ahead, try to start it here with just our hands, and then take our included wrench and go ahead and actually tighten that down. We can go ahead and repeat that process on the other side, and now we're ready to add it to our truck. All right, now that we want to get in our truck, we're going to need a second set of hands to walk it up towards our cab. And you want to kind of go at the same time here, and we just gently want to set it down, get it in position. I'm going to make sure John doesn't squeeze those hands, of course, or our own fingers. And there we are, looking nice. So what we want to do at this point, guys, is to go ahead and start seating the front of our bulkhead. One thing I like to do, once I have it set up on here, walk it towards your cab and then kind of unfurl this rubber out, because we're going to be shifting this towards our tailgate and actually getting this properly aligned. So go ahead and grab yourself a spacer, and once you shift this forward towards your cab, we're actually going to walk this back. So let's go ahead and meet by the tailgate. So what we've done, you want to go ahead and bring up your tailgate. And that's why you kind of want to shift it towards the cab. We don't want to be interacting here, damaging this potentially. And then you're going to take your spacer here and you're just going to place it against your tailgate like you can see. And we have this 1/8 of an inch spacing right here. And we actually can use this spacer to get this properly aligned. So what I did is get the spacer in, then you want to walk back your tonneau rails to where they actually align perfectly right here. Now that we have this set, we can go ahead and grab our clamps to actually secure this to our side rail. Take your clamps just like so. You're gonna find these little white tabs right here. Now these guys can be useful later on in a little bit. These guys are really excellent to go ahead and make sure you're properly aligned, that spacing between your two rails. For now, we're gonna be going ahead and just going to trust that these guys are properly aligned. Eyeballing it, they looked okay to me. Now if you see a huge kind of difference between the spacing of your truck bed and these arms, maybe for some reason these guys aren't properly installed, you can go ahead and tighten these guys down with an included Allen wrench. And that can actually get that spacing from the wall appropriately set for yourself as well. But we're gonna go ahead and check that here in a second. What we wanna do is go ahead and secure this with our clamp. So you can see our spacer here at the bottom and our nut down here. That's gonna keep this bolt from moving and give us that nice solid support on the backing here. As you guys can see, there's a lot of space here between our sidewall and where our rail actually starts clamping to the top of it. So we wanna go ahead and support that. All we wanna do, back it up, simply slot this on just like here. You can see that perfectly aligns itself, making sure that backing is holding. I have constant contact here in the back too. I'm gonna go ahead and spin that bolt in the back just a little bit more. And yeah, there I am, nice and secure. And then I can bring that other nut back to really secure that against that sidewall. Then I just need to start tightening this up. Now you can use a 14mm wrench or socket set or a 9/16 of an inch, whatever you guys have available at home, of course, to go ahead and start tightening this down. We can just hand tighten it with the other side, of course, until we're nice and secure. So while we do that, what you guys want to do before you get too tight there, I like to go ahead and just sit on that side rail. I want it really flush. My weight enough is going to be perfect to go ahead and get that properly aligned. And that way we have it nice and flush. As we do have a rubber gasket between our tonneau cover here and the bed of our truck. We don't want that coming undone, of course, or letting water in. So this is really going to secure it to your sidewalls. We don't need to go too tight though, as we don't want to damage anything. Once you feel you're nice and secure, you can kind of keep checking it. I'm seeing just a little wiggle, so I'm going to go ahead and give it a few more turns, but I think we're nice and installed. We can go ahead and repeat this process on all 4 of our clamps. Well, now that we have those clamps properly installed, we're going to go ahead and make sure that we actually are appropriately spaced here on our sidewalls. If we do have any kind of variance, it's going to make it really hard for our cover to actually slide out. So what you want to do, go ahead and measure from the top here of your distance between your side rails in the middle there. That's put me right about 58.5 inches. Now I already have gone ahead and checked my middle and my very end to make sure I'm keeping that, and we are great here today. Like we said before though, if you are seeing a little bit of shift, maybe you need to bring it in or push it out a little bit, you can go ahead and adjust those white spacers. Well guys, we're gonna go ahead and roll this out. I like to just stay in the truck the first time I roll it, just make sure that I'm actually getting everything properly aligned. I can kind of check the underside really easy. And if I do have any snags or anything, it can be really quick to actually service it since we're inside here. But all we need to do, of course, make sure your lock is up and gently roll this out for the first time. You guys can kind of see that weight really wants to kick me forward. And there we are, fully out. So the last thing I'm going to do before I take this plastic off is actually going to go ahead and close up my tailgate here to make sure we're not having any issues as it walks up. And no, that looks good. I didn't go too hard on that first up because I don't want to be damaging anything, but I'm really liking how this is seating. You can see here, we're still getting that seal here on the front of the tailgate. That's looking really good to me. It is kind of nice how well this T-slot lines up right with that crack too of our tailgate. All right guys, so now we actually go ahead and actually put in our drain tubes here. We are gonna have a little bit of water runoff, and we don't want that collecting in the canister, so it does have open holes here, and if we were just to leave it here, just simply go right into our bed and defeat the whole purpose of our tonneau. So we're gonna go ahead and actually put this guy up inside here. Before we do that though, we actually wanna go ahead and secure ourselves a drain spout. So you guys can see, you could just go ahead and remove this puck right here. A lot of you guys are gonna have this guy. However, you have a really big hole now, right? That's just not gonna be great. I like to go ahead and just drill out a little bit of hole here. Now the diameter of this guy is gonna be about 1/2 of an inch. So you can go ahead and get the necessary drill bit just to go ahead and drill this out. We're gonna go ahead and use a step bit here today. And all you have to do for that, simply walk this up on that drill bit of where you want it. So you can see I need to go about 4 steps up to go ahead and get the appropriate hole. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. So go ahead and drill your hole and see if you guys can get it set the way you want to. Well, now that we have that drilled out, we can go ahead and actually add our hose in here. So the one thing to keep note, when you are drilling this, of course, you do have your cab to worry about, so please don't drill all the way through into your cab. Let's just be a little careful as you're doing it. As you guys can see, you can also take that puck out and actually drill it off outside of your bed, which can be great. But then we just want to go ahead and slot this hose in. And now if you need to, if you start running a little bit of resistance like I am, you can maybe go to the side of your cab here and take some kind of like long device to go ahead and actually push on the end of that hose to actually get it. We want it to kind of feed down towards the ground. So we're gonna go ahead and try to do that here together. But for now, this is actually decent. We're still getting good drainage here, right? That water is gonna be going out and getting outside of our bed. So if you're really worried about it, you can go ahead and access that area between your cab and your bed and push that hose exactly where you want it. To run it up in this hole, it might be a little hard to see, but all we have to do here, guys, is to go ahead and actually plug it right in here. All you do, walk it up, twist it a little bit, it's gonna lock in, and then it'll be nice and secure. All right, everybody, now we wanna hop out of their truck, come to the side here, right between our cab and our bed meets, and go ahead, throw yourself under right here, and start looking up for that hose. All right, guys, we actually went ahead and got underneath the vehicle here, so we're actually right between the cab and our bed of our truck. So you guys can see we have the hose hanging right here. And this becomes a really easy way of just getting down here. What we don't want it to do is to be flush against any of these kind of walls, stopping that flow of water, right? So this is gonna be excellent. It's gonna go ahead and drip out, and therefore we're not gonna have any water building in the bed of our truck. Well, now that we have everything properly installed, we just want to go ahead and do a couple last little checks. Make sure our tonneau cover actually is gliding smoothly. And as you guys can see, we're having no hang-ups. It is coming all the way to the end. It's still seating well. There we go, got a nice latch on there. One thing I like about that, you can walk that up even with the tonneau all the way out. There we go, lock it. We're sitting there, nice and installed. Well, everyone, as you saw, that install definitely didn't take too much time. Hopefully, if you're following along, you're gonna get this installed in no time. I think this is gonna be a great little way of, again, just going ahead and securing your gear on the inside, preventing anybody from getting to it, any water from getting to it, and of course, just gonna look really good here on the back of your truck, and you really can't beat those T-slot attachments. Well, guys, I think that about it does it for our look at the RetraxONE XR hard tonneau cover with retractable canister here on our 2009 Ford F-150. I'm Bobby. Thanks for watching.